Hey guys, welcome to the very first supplemental video for a Cinema Corral episode. In this video, I'm going to be talking about Toy Story 4 more in depth. If it weren't abundantly clear from the title and the thumbnail, this video contains spoilers for Toy Story 4, so if you haven't seen that movie, click away from this video, go see that movie, and then come back here. Spoilers begin in 3, 2, 1. Don't say I didn't warn ya. Okay, right off the bat, I gotta say, my ranking of Toy Story 4 is about on par with Toy Story 3. I like them both. They're not perfect films, and Toy Story 2 is easily still the best film of the franchise, but it's about on par with Toy Story 3. In fact, they complement each other very nicely. Thematically, I love Toy Story 4 and its ending. I think the ending is actually a much better ending place than Toy Story 3's. Toy Story 3 only gives resolution to Andy and the other toys, but Woody is not given full closure. Andy gives away his toys and he steps into adulthood, and that's the end of his story. Now, whether you wanted him to come back as a fan servicey bit, that's entirely up to you, but I don't think that would have really added anything to the story. In fact, that would have really regressed Andy's character. The whole point of Toy Story 3's ending is that it was Andy moving on to the next step in his life. And for the rest of the toys, they get that. Like I said, Woody does not get that. He still clings hopelessly to Andy because that's all he's ever known. We don't know if he's really had an owner before Andy, but Andy is the most important person in his life. Everything he does, all of his motivations are entirely fueled by his desire to be loved and his fear of being replaced or forgotten. These desires and fears even have a negative impact on him. It's to the point in Toy Story 2 where he's willing to walk away from Andy and his friends just to have some admiration, just to avoid being thrown away, just to avoid having to know the pain of moving on from an owner. In Toy Story 3, he's willing to walk away from his friends in Sunnyside just so he can go to college with Andy and hold on to him just a little bit longer, regardless of whether or not he'd actually find any joy in that. He just wants to be with Andy all the time. And when he's passed on to Bonnie, he's not given proper resolution. He's still hung up on Andy. And so what Toy Story 4 does is give him proper resolution. No kid is ever going to love Woody the same way that Andy did. Bonnie was never ever going to love Woody that exact same way. He'd always be wanting more from that relationship. And as frustrating as it is that Bonnie promises Andy that she'd take care of Woody, you can't be mad at her because she's a little girl and kids go through phases with toys. You cannot tell me that you have ever had a toy and then the next shiny toy came in and you completely forgot about that one. That's exactly what happened here. Woody was only going to be a phase for Bonnie. Woody has only known one life, and that's servitude. The owner-toy relationship is the only existence he has ever known. So the moment that he's left with no purpose really gives him proper incentive to leave. And as sad as it is that Woody leaves the gang, I don't think that his friends would actually want him to just stay in the closet collecting dust just so they can have their friend around. Woody needed to move on, and that's what Toy Story 4 does. It gives Woody proper resolution, because the first 3 Toy Story films have been asking, what do you do when somebody stops loving you? And the answer is given in this one. You move on and you find your own way. And it perfectly rounds out Woody's arc and the Toy Story films. I know that they might eventually do a Toy Story 5. They left it with enough of an open ending that they could potentially come back to the franchise, but I really hope that this is the last one, because this is a perfect ending. The Toy Story films have always been about Woody, so why shouldn't this last one be about Woody moving on? That's what I absolutely loved about this movie. Outside of that, I really liked Gabby Gabby. I thought that she was an interesting character. She's a little psychotic in the beginning, especially with her horror tactics, when she really honestly could have just asked Woody or explained her situation, but it's nice to see that she's not entirely evil, that she has wants and needs and desires too. She just wants to be loved by this girl Harmony, and you genuinely feel bad for her when Harmony just tosses her aside as if she couldn't care less. I appreciate that they didn't go full villain route on this. After Harmony rejects Gabby Gabby, Gabby just sits in a box and sulks. And I think that really made Gabby Gabby a more well-rounded character, and the scene where she goes to comfort the little girl and ends up becoming her new toy is genuinely touching. I would have liked maybe a little bit longer reunion with the rest of the toys and Bo Peep. I know we get it with Woody and Buzz, and they were probably the two that were closest to Bo Peep, but I still would have liked to have seen more of that reunion, and maybe a little smidge longer on that goodbye. I know that the story's circumstances kind of prevented that from happening, but that comes down to a writing thing where you could have stretched it out just a smidge, maybe like a minute more. I mentioned in my initial review that I didn't like that they dumbed down Buzz Lightyear. I still don't like that decision. I get that it's played for laughs, but you could have done so much more with the character. He's never been an incompetent character, so to see him turned into kind of a buffoon is a little disappointing. I totally forgot to mention this in my main review, but I absolutely adored that title sequence. It's just so fluid, and while it's definitely been done elsewhere, I thought it was a creative way to show the audience Woody's quote-unquote life, and a nice way to recap Andy passing the toys to Bonnie. I don't think I have anything else really to say for this video. I genuinely loved Toy Story 4. I'm going to see it again in the next couple days. While it's not my favorite Toy Story movie, it definitely does round out Woody's character, and it makes him even more complex than he has been in the previous 3 films. And he's already a very complex character. So with all that being said, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can get notified whenever I upload, and until next time, I will see you later.